We're back with what the act is Wake the Talk Up. And this is a kind of series within a mini series of 8 ways to make communication your greatest asset. We're diving into each of these 8 ways. We have an awesome video resource along with accompanying journal prompts and other things that you can download through the link in bio. And so we thought for the next few weeks, why not dive into each of these 8 ways a little bit more deeply? There's a lot of fodder here. So this is way number 3. The third way to make communication your greatest asset is to get clear on your emotions and needs. They are the windows into understanding.
Let's just recap that way number 1 was that it's helpful to treat communication as a multifaceted process, if you want to go back and watch that. Way number 2 was that you can notice that creating stories can make your communication more tricky or difficult. And so today we're going to talk about emotions and needs, their windows into our understanding. And how are they windows into our understanding, Lauren? What do the emotions and needs help us? How do we get to figuring out what our emotions and needs are?
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to tell people why we should give a crap. Again, so much centering about emotions and needs. So whether we're conscious of it or not, most communication is an attempt to either fulfill an unmet need or celebrate a need that's met. It's what all communication boils down to. But most of us aren't conscious, or I should say many of us, I certainly wasn't before I embarked on my communication empowerment journey, aren't conscious of what we're needing. So maybe we're communicating about is our stories or our interpretations, which we talked about in our last episode. Maybe we're communicating about strategies to meet a need, but those strategies are limited because we don't actually really know what our needs are. So we're limiting our capacity for curiosity and also collaboration with others when we communicate in this way. So if we can get clear on what we're needing, then we can kind of get to the heart of what the heck it is that we're trying to accomplish in a communication. And we also create this opportunity for shared understanding with our communication partner, because all needs are universal. We, as humans, we have a color palette of, hundreds of needs, and we can all relate to all of them, even if we're not experiencing them at the same time. Very much like how there's so many colors in the visual spectrum that we all can see. And there are, like colors, different shades of needs. And so the more specific we can get about what our needs are, the more creative we can get about the amazing diversity of ways that we can have them met, either in collaboration with others or just on our own. So Allison, how do we find out what we're needing?
Well, first I want to just tag on to a little bit of what you said and how there are these windows into understanding, is that each time we take the moment to get really clear and discern what our exact shade of emotion or need is, we're kind of like a radio tuning into like, and there's the beautiful song, right? And we've created a moment of inner intimacy and trust when we've tuned into the exact station of what we're feeling. And once we have that inner trust and intimacy, we can choose to share that with someone else if we want them to understand us. And each time we do that, we build an understanding within ourselves that we can trust ourselves to find this place of intimacy and attunement. And each time we do that, it becomes easier, it becomes more clear. The neurons get strengthened by repeatedly firing like this focus and attention on our internal experience. So it can be this understanding can be built from like the outside and the inside at the same time.
Yeah. Great. Thanks so much for highlighting that. So there's this way that in communication, I guess there's really 2 fundamental things going on. One is we want to have our needs fulfilled and or expressed, and we also want to be understood. So by accessing needs, we also give some of that understanding to ourselves first before we can even ask for it from someone else.
Yeah. And so and I think the question was, how do we get to really figure out what our feelings and needs are?
Or how do so if that's why needs are important, I'll just tee it up and then you can take it away. But how we access our needs is through emotions. That's kind of mm, the clue into what we might be needing.
Yeah. And also the stories are
Yeah.
clues into, so if we can figure out what our story is and what our feeling is, then that's going to give us a clue into a need. So let's take an example. Let's say the bus was late. My story might be, the bus was late today. I was late to work. I hate that bus line, that driver, he's always late. I don't think he likes his job very much. And now I'm going to get in trouble at work. So there's multiple stories there that I'm going to get in trouble. The bus driver doesn't like his job, that he's always late. Because every time we use the word always, never, and the less specific we get, it's kind of a clue that maybe we're telling ourselves a story, because practically nothing always never happens, right? So if we can pull out just the observation of like the bus, it said on the bus schedule that the bus was coming at 10 o'clock and it arrived at 10:05. And then when I walked into work at 10:35 instead of 10:30, and my boss looked at me as I walked in. So maybe that's what the video camera would have recorded. And my takeaway maybe was feeling anxious. Maybe I was feeling irritated. Maybe I was feeling resentful. Maybe I was feeling angry. Maybe I was feeling suspicious. So all of these things might, between the story and how my filters kind of combined to create the meaning around it, and then my feelings, then maybe I could look at it and be like, okay, I was feeling suspicious about the bus driver. I was feeling angry and blaming the bus driver for me being late. I was feeling anxious about my boss. Maybe my need is for job security. Maybe my need is for financial stability. Maybe my need is for reliability. Maybe I want to be seen as a reliable worker who shows up on time. And so then I can say, okay, let me narrow down the emotions so it just kind of relates to that reliability one. Maybe I was feeling anxious about after my boss looked at me when I walked in at 10:35. My need is for reliability that wasn't met. And what's my strategy? Maybe I'm going to get one of those real-time apps. It tells me when the bus is actually arriving. So if it's not going to be on time, or maybe I'm going to take an earlier bus. So I get there early instead of potentially late.
And those are examples of strategies that we can fulfill with ourselves. Maybe an example of strategy that might involve someone else is maybe I'm going to tell my boss that I'm having, oh my gosh, what was the feeling that you honed in on?
Anxious.
I'm feeling anxious because I have this need for reliability. And maybe the request is, can you let me know if this is a concern for you as well? So those are ways that honing in on our emotions and needs can be the windows to understanding, first and foremost with ourselves, and then next with other people, with others as well.
Yeah, because maybe in our example, what could have been helpful is some reassurance from our boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 5 minutes is okay, and that's not going to jeopardize us this time.
Yeah. So if you like what you see here, if this sparks any curiosity, a couple of ways that you can go deeper into this work. First, we have this incredible online course called the Intensive Online Course. We have a 7-week version and a 12-week version. 7-week version starts in May, 12-week starts in September. It's already filling up. So check it out, grab your spot. There's early bird pricing, all the buzzwords in there, right? Just add Wake the Talk Up to your communication empowerment journey. You will thank yourself.
Thank you.
Oh, can I say the other way?
Yes.
Yeah. So the other way that you can consider going deeper in this is by joining our community. We have a really accessible price point of a course called the 88 Founding Members of Wake the Talk Up, and you get to be one of the founding members. That's pretty cool. It's $8 for a limited time. All of that and more info in link in bio. So check it out.
It's one expensive latte if you're in San Francisco.
See you all next week.
Bye-bye.